Welcome to the Rock and Roll and Good News program. I am David Esposito, founder and managing partner of Harvest Time Partners and host for today's program. If you have not done so before, please review the background on this program, which is available on our YouTube channel and also our website at www.harvesttimepartners.com. As we begin this episode, please know that you matter. Regardless of what you are struggling with, regardless of the depths of your sorrows, and regardless of how lonely you feel, the good news is that you matter. I hope the message in this episode nourishes you in the most meaningful way to comfort you and strengthen you to keep climbing into the ring to face your battles. Today's episode is titled Commitment. And as we begin today's episode, we start with a song from Creedence Clearwater Revival titled Someday Never Comes. Please spend a few minutes listening to any version you can find on the internet. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that song. Creedence Clearwater Revival, led by lead singer John Fogerty, played together under the name CCR for a short period of about 4 years and topped the charts with an eclectic style that blended some southern rock and roll, country rock, and blues to produce some wonderful music. It was too bad that the band members just could not get along as they rocked up the charts. They ended up disbanding in the early 70s after just a few short years of amazing success. The song Someday Never Comes highlights a trend we see a lot in everyday life. Without a commitment to change or act, we go nowhere, and that someday never comes because we fail to commit. We have all witnessed some painful breakups of relationships because of a failure to commit. Conflicts in the home are the most heartbreaking of all of life's struggles, and many conflicts in the home start based on a failure to fulfill our commitments. When we look into the ancient scriptures for some guidance, we find some helpful examples to help guide our thoughts and actions in the story of the prophet Elijah and his understudy, the eventual prophet Elisha. In 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 19 to 21, please take a moment and find a version of this scripture on the internet. The backdrop of this situation is the prophet Elijah. So Elijah with a J, Elisha, who we'll talk about, is the younger version, and Elisha with an S. So the backdrop of the situation in chapter 19 is that the prophet Elijah is getting old and a bit exhausted with all that he's been dealing with, as there are many false prophets during this time that challenge the power of God. God had instructed Elijah to appoint the next major prophet, being Elisha, to begin mentoring him while the older Elijah still had the strength to continue. As the story in chapter 19 unfolds, Elijah approaches Elisha to appoint him as the next prophet. At the time, Elisha is plowing his fields with 12 oxen. Elisha was a busy, hardworking family man. When Elijah told Elisha why he was coming to see him, Elisha responded positively to the offer and mentioned that he needed to first return home to organize his affairs and also say goodbye to his mother and father before he could leave and join in the service of Elijah. Elijah, who had been through so much as a prophet for Israel, knew the kind of commitment that was needed to do the job. And at that moment, with Elisha's response to first take care of some things at home, Elijah felt Elisha was not ready to make the kind of commitment that was needed. So Elijah left feeling very disappointed. Elisha eventually realizes the commitment he needs to make in the service as a prophet of Israel and being the understudy of Elijah. Elisha makes a decision to demonstrate his commitment to his new role. And in verse 21 of that same chapter, we quote, "He took his yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. He burned the plowing equipment to cook the meat and gave it to the people, and they ate it. Then he set out to follow Elijah and become his servant. In essence, Elisha burned his past and literally cooked his prior method of making a living to make a commitment that there is no turning back to his old life. Elisha eventually caught up with Elijah and began his new life's purpose as a prophet of Israel. This message of commitment is a great example for us to ensure that we don't look back on the important things in life and hear the cold reality that someday never came because we lacked a commitment. We all fall short from time to time. However, God's faithfulness is never ending, and even though we may fall short from time to time, we can start fresh today. God's mercy is new every morning, and we can start today to make the commitments we need in order to reach our full potential. So as we reflect on this message, I'd ask you to reflect on the following questions. How have I demonstrated a lack of commitment to some important things in life? And secondly, what steps can I take to be stronger in my commitments today? As you continue along in your journey, please remember we can always find redemption from our mistakes through God. While we may be struggling to forgive ourselves for some things we have done in the past, God's faithfulness to forgive us and redeem us is never ending. All we have to do is ask. As you continue to reflect on the message, please take a moment to search the internet and find and listen to Van Morrison singing the song, Whenever God Shines His Light. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this message. As we conclude this message, please know that you matter, regardless of what you are struggling with, regardless of the depths of your sorrows, and regardless of how lonely you feel. The good news is that you matter. I hope this message nourished you in the most meaningful way to comfort you and strengthen you to keep climbing into the ring to face your battles. This concludes today's episode entitled Commitment. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive updates on new episodes. Also log on to our website at harvesttimepartners.com to explore the many products and services we have to help you be your best for those you care about most. And please feel free to reach out to me directly at david@harvesttimepartners.com or call or text my mobile number at 269-370-9275. Thank you for listening.